Hey everybody, it's good to see you all again. This segment is just to kind of let you guys know what is going on in this episode. So, in this episode, there is a situation. Towards the end, or anywhere in this episode, there is a blank. That means there's no sound coming in the episode, and you might think that is your fault. That is my fault. You can blame me, say it was my fault, because that is an editing problem, and that's because of recording and the recording platform that I use. If that happens to be in the episode, if that's in it, what you need to do is to just disregard it. Don't worry about it. Consider it like an ad break. Consider it like a break. Consider it like we're taking a 5 minute break. Consider it like that. So, no freaking out. No need to worry. Make sure you guys enjoy the episode, enjoy what's in it, and y'all have a good one. And enjoy this one. Really enjoy it and have fun. And please disregard the blanks in there, consider them breaks. Hope you guys enjoy this episode and thank you guys for understanding and for your cooperation. Hey everybody, good to see you all. This one's going to be a pretty sweet one. This is Bill, a huge, well, my opinion is huge musician with me who has 8 guitars behind his head and has a sweet positive attitude. Welcome to the show today.
No, thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to having a great conversation with you and your audience today. It's always fun.
Yeah, no problem. And you benefit the most because it's young adults. It's young adults, so you benefit a lot because telling about you, you'll provide a lot of wisdom for everybody.
Well, I don't know about wisdom, but my son, who is what I would consider to be a young adult, once bought me a T-shirt. I was doing a bunch of live stream shows, and one of them was for a group out of Australia that had a relatively young demographic. And he bought me a shirt to wear during that show that just says, "Hey, this boomer is okay." So it might work out. You never know.
Oh yeah, it might. Oh yeah, it might. And it probably might because people tend to get a lot of info from older people. They tend to get a lot of goodness from them. Especially I do.
Good, good. Well, I always like to tell people I didn't get this gray hair out of a bottle. I earned every one of them. So,
Well, that gray hair is actually it's a part of you, so it wasn't just out of nowhere. It was a part of you,
yeah,
and that's a sign. It's a sign. That's why men that get a lot older they get those because it's a sign. It shows that you've lived a pretty good rounded life, and you got a good life going.
yeah.
That's a sign that that happened.
Well, good. I'm glad you think so. I still remember when it was a full head of hair and curly and no gray, and I had a natural afro. So I remember those days kind of fondly. So obviously that's not the case any longer. So,
Oh wow, I'm shocked. How on earth did you pull off an afro?
well, you have to keep in mind, man. I mean, it was the '70s, right? And I had naturally curly hair, and I just really got tired of messing with it, so I just had it all cut all one length, and I dried it. I dried it out the window on my way to school every day, and it just kind of naturally did an afro thing. So it was kind of a look.
Well, okay. I see you. But I think that was a look for everybody. I think most people had to do that because you know that in the 70s and 80s, the afros were like a huge thing for everybody. Especially 70s, Most people had those, especially black people, they had those.
Yeah, I had several of my friends of color that were very jealous of mine, so it was it was pretty cool
Oh
until
yeah.
until Mother Nature decided I didn't need that anymore. So yeah,
Oh yeah, definitely. And don't you just love when people are jealous of you because that shows that they want That shows they want to actually top you. They actually want to get to where you are, and they feel bad. I love it. I
Yeah.
love when people are jealous of me. I love when I have something that they don't. Like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I got this, and you don't. Ha! Look at that.
There you go.
Look at that. But seriously though, she's looking into everything. So, to all the new people that have no idea who you are, I mean, would you mind giving a little rundown about yourself? A little bio, if you get all professional?
Yeah. I was born, actually, it's kind of cool in a weird sort of way. I was born in a condemned hospital in a little bitty old town in Washington State called Ione, Washington. And from there, my family moved through Oklahoma and then into Kansas for a bit, and then into Missouri, into the area that we live in now. And I was raised, just very typical. Went through high school, started playing music, actually before high school in church and stuff, and then when I got into junior high into high school, I started playing a bit more. And then in high school, I was typically playing, 2 or 3 nights a week, every week throughout my high school career. And then in the summers, I would go out and play different shows and stuff, all over the Midwest. And so I've been doing music a long time. I did take a little break because I had some vocal problems, and then on top of that, it was I got married, had kids, kind of did the normal life for the longest time. Got a job, and I just recently, actually last November, retired from that company where I worked for 43 and a half years. And but once my kids got through college and got through chasing their athletic dreams, which both of them are quite athletic, I looked into the drawer of all these different lyrics that I'd written and these songs that I'd come up with over all the years, and thought, I wonder if there's any kind of an audience for this kind of music. And so I went into the studio and recorded a couple of songs, really just pure acoustic, and threw them out, and they picked up a little bit. A couple of them won some songwriting awards, that kind of thing. And then we went back into the studio and recorded a really far more produced album called Find a Way that took off and really kind of developed a really strong fan base around the world, and had several what folks in today's world would call hits off that song. I had my biggest song to date is a song that's called Goodbye Will Never Come Again. And it's about how I managed the breakup of a relationship really, really poorly. And that one actually ended up being the #1 song on the folk charts in the United States for a few weeks. So that was cool. And then Find a Way, after that, we created another project that we called Crossing Willow Creek, which has been out now for a couple of years, and it's done quite well and had several songs that charted in the top 5 and has gained, hundreds of thousands, actually over a million streams all over the world. And recently, we just produced a EP that was written during the quarantine, and we called it Who Are You, Who Am I? So it's a 4-song EP. 2 of the songs have already released as singles. One of them was called More Than Meets the Eye, that we released right before the November election last year. And now we have a single out that's called 1,000 Wild Horses, which is a great song. I'd love to tell you I wrote it, but I didn't. It's a cover song from another artist named Gary Burr, but fantastic song. And we're really pleased with how it's going. It's been out, I don't know, maybe a month now, and it's up in the tens of thousands of streams and that kind of thing now. So we're pretty excited about how it's all going. But I started off in a in a condemned hospital, and in the state of Washington, and now at 63 years old, I'm making music that's being played all over the world. So it's a, kind of an interesting tale, interesting little story along the way.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I love that you've had such a really successful, life. You got to live the normal life. You got to do that. And on top of that, you also got to have a musical experience too. I mean, it's not every day that you get to be a parent and also fulfill your musical dream. I mean, my
Yeah,
mother.
people have asked me over the years if I regret it. Both of my kids were Division I full ride athletes, right? And if you know that lifestyle, you're chasing them, all over the country all the time, getting them to their events and getting them to their competitions and their tournaments and all the things that they have to do. And so you don't really have time for much of anything else. And a friend asked me if I ever regretted that. I would not trade those days for anything. To be able to sit back as a parent and watch your kids chase their dreams and fulfill their dreams and do so many cool things, far cooler than anything that I could have done personally. And it's a proud thing for me. I mean, I have big pictures of my kids playing ball and stuff all over my loft. So very proud moment for me. But again, when that part of my life came to an end and they moved on and started their real careers and started doing their thing, I thought, why not? Let's take a run at this music thing again. And I've been having a really good time with it.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell. I could definitely tell in your music too that you definitely enjoy it and you put a lot of, heart into what you do. And I respect that. I definitely do. I definitely respect that. I mean, being a musician myself, I definitely get you.
I think music has a magic way of translating. Well, I saw a meme of all things the other day that music is what emotions sound like. And I think that's pretty cool. That's a pretty good way to say it. A lot of times, an old Jim Croce song. Where he had fallen in love with a woman, but every time he tried to tell her, he kept screwing it up. Right? He couldn't get the words out; it didn't make any sense. And he wrote a song, and he said, "Every time I try to tell you, the words just come out wrong. So I have to say I love you in a song." And that's really what music is all about. I think you could communicate sometimes better through music than you can just face to face in a conversation.
Yeah, totally, totally. You speaking my language. I definitely agree with that 100%. And I love that too. I love that music. It's its own language, and it's a great form of communication. I love it. I mean, especially when you got that great voice to sing. Um, I mean, that's emotion speaking for itself.
Yeah, the way that I wish I had the voice I had when I was a kid, right? But life moves on, and your body changes, and all that. But I think that being able to express a song is far more than just singing the song, right? Every
Hmm.
song has a message, and sometimes just singing the notes is not enough. There's an old George Carlin. George Carlin had a comment one time that the great players and the great singers and the great musicians of our time are not necessarily the people that can play all the notes, right? There are a lot of people out there that can play all the notes, and there's a lot of people that can sing all the notes, right? But the great ones are the ones who know why those notes need to be played and why those notes need to be sung. I think that's a great statement, and it really explains a lot of how different artists segregate from each other.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. I love that, and I love the songs that have a message.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an important part of any song is that you learn from it and you get something from it. I mean, of course, the music and the melody, speaks to you. But if a song doesn't have a purpose, I mean, when you think that screws the song up if it doesn't have like a purpose behind it or like a meaning behind what you're singing. I mean, to me, if it doesn't have a purpose, I mean, it doesn't
What's the
look like a
point?
song.
Yeah. So I think that there's different kinds of songs, right? And not all of them have to have, the deep meaning. Some songs are just written because, they're fun and maybe they make you laugh, or that, they've got a really cool beat and, they make you want to get up and dance and you want to do all that, which I think is fun and that's great. It's not the style of music that I particularly like. I'm a lyric guy, and I like exactly what you alluded to. I like for the message. I want to know what is the artist saying and why are they saying that. And so I dive pretty deep into the lyrical content of the songs. And then you get the really good artists. I was listening to the latest John Mayer album just day or two ago, and I think he's a great writer. And the way that he takes his lyric and then accentuates the message of the song with the musicals, with the guitars and the instrumentation and all that, that's impressive to me. And but I think the key to that is he doesn't go out and just blow you away, which he can if he wanted to. He doesn't go out and just blow you away with a bunch of phenomenal guitar leads, and then sing a few words in between. He really he crafts a song, and then he uses the music to accentuate the message in the song. And to me, that's really what a great writer does.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you there 100%. I'm there. And I love the songs like that have, and I actually prefer songs like that. I can't listen to a song that, just nonsense in it. Or like has like a confused face, like, what? Like, what is that? Like, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want that.
Yeah, it fascinates me sometimes when you're listening to the radio. I try to listen to the radio some, and I try to listen to different genres and different age ranges of artists. And every now and then you hear a song and you go, that might have been a reach for a rhyme right there. That makes no sense. It does rhyme, but I think you might have reached. You might have looked a little deeper into that thesaurus to find a better word, right? So.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I question that too sometimes. And my friends, they do music, they make music, and I sometimes
Mm-hmm.
question like, and I sometimes do when I listen to their music, like, what is that? Like, I don't get it. What's this about? And they go blabbering off nonsense, and that doesn't make me want to listen to it. The
Yeah.
best, the best songs have relation. They have relation to them. The best songs have
Mm-hmm.
relation, and if you can relate to it, I mean, if a topic you can relate to, and and you have felt that, that shows you really feel the song. You really feel the song, and you like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what I attempt to do. I don't know that I always achieve it, but I think I attempt to do that. Is each one of my songs? I'm really kind of a storyteller, really, and I take some stories and then I kind of modify them a bit to get them into a song. But each one of them has a meaning and has a message. And not that I'm trying to preach at anybody, because that's not really who I am. But I think that you can take some lessons from maybe some of the experiences that I had, whether they be good or bad, and you could look at that and say, hey, that happened to Bill. This is how he responded to it. Maybe I need to do that a little bit better, or maybe it worked out well for him and I'll try it, and maybe it works out for me, maybe it doesn't. But the message, if there's not a message, I don't know, for me particularly, if the song doesn't have a message, I see no reason to play it, or to write it, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I feel about a lot of songs, is that they don't, if they don't have a meaning to it, I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to use my time to listen to that. I'd rather listen to a song that I actually know, like, that's what it's about. Like, that, I see what it means. I don't want to listen to, like,
Hmm.
that nonsense because there's already tons of those on platforms. I want to listen to actually quality music and actually, good thought out and actually written. They actually know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So there's yeah, I appreciate that. As a matter of fact, I'm not what I would consider to be a passive music listener. So a lot of folks back in my corporate days, right? We'd be all, in our offices doing our thing, and I'd go around and check on everybody to see if they needed anything or anything I could do to help with them, and they'd be listening to music. And I certainly, that's cool with me. But I can't do that. If I have music on in the background, it has to not include lyrics, because if there's lyrics, I'm listening to the lyrics, and the next thing you know, I'm off on some rabbit trail, trying to figure out what the artist is talking about. So usually, if I have music on, what I call passive listening music, it's all instrumental stuff. As a matter of fact, lately, I've really been into listening to Native American music, Native American flute music in particular. I think it's beautiful, and it's very calming and peaceful.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love listening to that, especially when I read. That's really nice.
Hmm.
I love it.
I think it actually helps you concentrate, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm there with you 100%. And I totally get you. I totally get you. And sometimes I do prefer instrumental to lyrics. I definitely prefer that sometimes.
Hmm.
So yeah. Um, and with everything going on, which I'm enjoying this by the way. I want to talk about your new single, A Thousand Wild Horses. I listened to that a couple days ago, and I love it, by the way. It's
Thank you.
such, it's such a amazing song. I love it. I mean, I just want to know from you, like, how did the song get made? Like, what was the process of making the song? The behind the scenes of that song.
Oh, that was an interesting one, and I didn't write that one, but it's one of those songs. I think that there are songs in your life that you hear, and they kind of meet you at a place, right? Because that you could just immediately relate to what the artist has to say and how they go about it. Gary Burr, great songwriter from Nashville, had written that song, and the first time I heard it, I actually heard him play it live. And I thought, man, that's a pretty cool song. And then, I went back and listened to it and listened to it. And the more that I listened to it and the more that I dove into it, it's just, it's one of those songs that I would consider to be perfect, the way that he wrote it. It's an analogy between all of our baggage, right? We all have it. We all have things in our past relationships or past issues that we've had or dependencies, those kind of things. We all have those. And Gary drew an analogy between all of those things in our past. Uh, and he says they're very like 1,000 wild horses running behind you, hell bent on running you down, right? So you can allow your baggage to run you over, or you can you can figure out how to manage that baggage. And in the bridge of the song, he actually talking about the baggage stuff. He says, each one is branded and each one is mine. Each one's a darkness that I can't deny. I know they're coming. There's no place to hide. I'm going to get run down or I'm going to ride. So the analogy is you got to figure out how to ride your horses, man. Figure out how to deal with all your baggage and use that to help propel you through life. Just a fantastic song. And it was fun actually when we were recording it, because I heard this song really a little bit differently than some of the other guys. So a lot of the musicians that I record with and that I play live with are jazz guys, right? And So, you know, they don't necessarily go into I would consider to be A Thousand Wild Horses a pure Americana song. Didn't go there. And I remember we were going through it, and Thomas, the drummer, Thomas Freight Train Walker is this guy's name. Great guy. It just is chill. And he's like, if you think of cool, this is Thomas. He's just cool, you know? And we were going through it, and he said, now, Bill, let's take that down a little bit. Let's slow let's back that off a little bit, Bill, and let's see how that feels. And so he set it down, and off we went. And I thought, well, this is a little bit slower than I thought, but then it kind of took on a life of its own. And the next thing I know, you know, we've got a little bit of a jazz feel in the different parts of it. And we got all the guitars done, and all the drums, and all the vocals, and all that stuff. And I have a small group of friends, a very small circle of friends that I bounce music off of. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? You know, and one of my friends, I sent him the rough tracks, if you would, of A Thousand Wild Horses, and he immediately listened to it, and he didn't text me back, he didn't send me an email. He picked up the phone and he said, "You have to have a mandolin on this song." And I had never thought of that, to be honest with you. And I got to thinking about it. I thought, well, you know, we bring in a mandolin guy and see if it doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? And we brought in a mandolin guy, and he played it, and it was like spectacular. And you know, there's little things like that go on, you know, during the course of a session, you know, when you're putting down some tunes. But I think it's important to get as much feedback as you can, you know, from people that you trust, to help, you know, get the best product out there that you can. And that was certainly a great idea, to add the mandolin to that song, because it really just sparkles. So fun stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I love that the song was fun and that you had a special touch to it that made it a hit. I love it. I love it.
It's just fun, you know. It's just fun, you know. And you know, I don't take a lot of credit for that. You know, it's the folks that I work with, you know, in the studio that say, "Hey, man, you ought to try this. You ought to try this," you know. And that one, you know, we kind of sang that a little bit differently than we have some of the other songs. Kind of backed it off a little bit, and made it a little bit more thoughtful from a vocal standpoint. I think that worked really well. And then, you know, everybody else just does all the musical embellishments and all that. I think it's just great. They're so much fun.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes you can like a fun song if it's well written. If it's well written, I would love to listen to a fun song. I would love
Yeah,
that.
well, yeah, we have kind of a fun one. We haven't released it as a single, but it may be the next one. You know, we'll see. We're now talking with you know, the radio promo people and you know, all those folks about what's next, right? So you know, A Thousand Wild Horses is out there, and it's climbing, and it's doing really, really well. And so we're not going to step on that, clearly. But I also wrote a song on this EP that is called "The World's Foremost Authority on Everything." And if you've ever sat at Thanksgiving dinner, right, and the whole family, every family has, you know, everybody calls it the weird uncle, right? And he's the weird guy. You know, he's always got strange ideas and conspiracy theories and blah, 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 right? And interestingly enough, if your family doesn't have one of those weird uncles, it may be you, just saying. But I knew a few people like this. And I think in today's society, it's always interesting to me where somehow magically we have so many people that are so expert on so many different things that are maybe a little bit removed from their background, right? And all of a sudden, you know, you're an expert on this and you're an expert on that. And you have an opinion on this and you have an opinion on that. And so I've known a few people like that over the course of my life. And so I thought, and I actually had a guy that we jokingly called the world's foremost authority on everything. And I thought, well, why not? And so I sat down and kind of wrote it out and took it into the studio, and we started playing around with it. And the more that we played around with it, it is the only what I would consider to be pure country song I've ever done. And because it just needed to be country. And not much like the mandolin, I'm listening to it and I'm going, man, it needs something. And the next thing I know, I went out and bought a banjo and actually played a banjo on that song. And it works. It works. Of course, with banjos, friends don't let friends play banjos. So, but on that particular song, it works. So it was a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing what folks think about that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love to see the reaction to that, and I love that it was a fun song that you went through the musical background of it. I love it.
Well, the fun thing is I come up with these songs, right? Then you go in the studio and that one, when I sat down and played it for all the guys, they kind of gave me this look like, really, Bill, really, we're going there. We're going to have to do this, because these are legitimate, real musicians, and I said, yeah, guys, I want us to country this thing up. And so they initially didn't like the idea, but as we got going, they had a good time with it, and got to play some licks and do some things that they typically wouldn't do. So I think they had a good time with it as well.
Oh yeah, I could definitely tell. 100%. Definitely. I think I'm gonna listen to the song again. It's so nice. I like it. I'm gonna listen to it again.
I'm glad you like it.
Hey, thank you. Anyway, going on with everything, I wanted to also talk about your EP. Who Are You? Who Am I? Which, when I heard that was your EP, I'm like, okay, and that got me thinking, like, oh my God, and you just surprised me with that one. So, what was the whole process of making that one?
Well, it's an interesting story, actually. So oftentimes, you're a musician, right? And I imagine there are a few musicians in your audience as well. And music happens and you don't really know where it comes from, right? And I get asked that all the time. Where does your inspiration come from? Where does the music come from? Well, nobody really knows, right? Sometimes it's just, I call it kind of magic, just poof, it happens. And when I was working on the song, Who Are You, Who Am um, I went back into this dream. I've had a recurring dream my whole life about meeting this person, and this person kind of takes me to different places along my journey through music. And I mean, literally, I've had this dream since as long as I can remember. And I kind of look at it as a muse, right? This is the person that's taking me into all these different places and all these different feelings and all these different sounds and all these different things. And I have no idea who that person is, right? That would be somebody that I would love to meet, face to face in the flesh, right? And sit down and have a conversation, but it's only in the dream, right? And so I asked the question, who are you, right? And then conversely, I also asked the question, who am I? Because you're showing me things about myself, whether it be a musical thing or emotional thing or a spiritual thing that I didn't know. You're taking me into these places that are very educational for me and are very enlightening and revealing at times, right? And so not only do I not know who that is, sometimes I'm not real sure who I am. So I wrote the song, Who Are You, Who Am I? That's kind of the backstory of that song. But it's pretty. It's a pretty song. And we had tons of fun in the studio with that one. And if you'll notice on the recording, there are no drums. There's no percussion. And that came from Thomas Freight Train Walker, who listened to it. And I said, Thomas, I don't know what we need on this, And after he listened to it a couple of times, he took it home and listened to it, and he called me back and he said, you need nothing. You need nothing. Let the guitars and the strings do all carry the whole song. And so, on that one, I play my blonde Guild 12 string that I've named Galadriel. She's very beautiful, and she makes really, really pretty sounds. And I play her on that. We got a bunch of strings. It's kind of an orchestrated event, and it's. I'm really happy with it. I'm really pleased with it. Not only is the music cool, and we had a good time with that, but the message in the song is something that's very personal to me. And as you know, as a musician, sometimes letting that personal stuff out there for the world to see is not as easy as one might think, right? But that one I like. And interestingly enough, my sister, I have an older sister who is a PhD psychologist, and she's in that small circle of friends that I bounce ideas off and I bounce music off of. And I had her listen to a very rough version of Who Are You, Who Am I? And she listened to it and she said, send me the lyrics. So I sent her the lyrics, and she came back and she said, this is by far the most in-depth lyrical song you've ever written. And I said, well, what does it mean? And she says, I'll get back to you. Well, she hadn't got back to me yet, so I think she's still working on it. But really, really a fun song to do, a challenging song. To be honest with you, the guitar part on the 12 string is involved and pretty intricate and a little bit brutal to play. But the way that it turned out and the way that the instruments meshed together, I think is pretty special. And so I'm very, very proud of it.
Yeah, you should be. It's amazing. It's amazing. I listened to it, and it really got me thinking. I mean, it really got me thinking, like, who am I? And it just really got me thinking about the. Really got me thinking. I mean, it was so lyrical. I love the concept of it. It was very touching to me. The track and the whole track list and the whole EP was like so touching, and it really had me doing some deep thinking whenever I listened to it. It really got me, deeply. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Um, it really got me, thinking. And really just deep thinking on the concept of it. And you just gave me a thought in my head about it, and even to this day, I'm still, questioning who are you, who am I? And even that line is just, I like it. Even that whole line, I like it.
Yeah, I think that everybody has that, right? Some people might run from it, yeah, or deny that they have that. But I firmly believe that if you're not asking yourself and reevaluating yourself and trying to look at yourself on a daily basis and go, who am I? Right? Who am I? Who do I need to be at this stage of my life? What have I learned? What have I embraced from my learnings? What have I not embraced from my learnings? Right? And I think it's one of the beautiful things about music, like we said earlier, is that it lets you kind of explore those things and explore those areas of your life that maybe you don't. Maybe you don't, or at least I don't, in other ways, in conversations or whatever. To me, it's just it's a lot more impressive and a lot more educational for me to sit down with a pen and a paper and write my thoughts and then try to morph those thoughts into some sort of a musical piece. So I think that we all need to do that. We all need to kind of take a look at ourselves from time to time and say, really, is this who I am, or am I just going with the crowd, or whatever. So I'm glad that it made you think. See, that's a win for me.
Yeah, and you got a lot of wins from that, because it's very related, because people, they've done that, they've reevaluated, and most people do it. Just, most people do it. Most people from time to time, even I do it. I have to be like, who am I? Who am I gonna be like right now? Right now, who am I? Who am I gonna be 30 years from now? And who am I gonna be a couple years plus the years?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I always like to say, yesterday's history, tomorrow is nothing but a promise. But today, right now, in this moment, who are you? What are you doing? Right. And so I'm one of those old hippie types that you know, I live in the moment. And I think each moment of your life is a picture, and that picture can become a mosaic that at the end of the day turns out to be who you are. Right. So.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. And that's like the best way to really describe your personality and who you are. I think what you said was like the best way that finding out who you are, the result of finding who you are is a mosaic. I love that. It's really important that people know that, so they can really make their own mosaic, and they can really go within, and listening to that EP is gonna change their life.
Well, I hope so. You know, I hope they enjoy it, and you know, I hope they listen to it. Obviously, you have, right? You listen to it in depth, and so if folks do that, you know, and they learn something and they take something away from it, I mean, that is not something that I said. You know, we got to do it this way. You know, just something that makes you think, right? You know, I always like to say, I'm never going to tell you what to think. I would just appreciate it if you would think, right? But if you take something away from that, then that's why I do this. Um, uh, you know, I'm just trying to portray and relay information and things that have happened in my life, and learnings and lessons that I've taken away. And if somebody takes something away from that that helps them or gives them food for thought, you know, or makes them just, sometimes it's just good just to sit back and say, wow, who am I? Right. If somebody could take that away from my music, then that's why I do it. I mean, that's win, 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 win across the board.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I'm there with you 100%. I'm there. And I just love the idea of the concept. I hope we make more music in the future when people get to really, do some thinking
Well,
about
you
the
know,
life
it's,
ahead.
yeah, well, as a writer, you know, I'm an inspirational writer, right? And so something has to happen, right? Something has to occur in my life or to friends, or, you know, sometimes it's something I see on TV, right? You never know, reading the newspaper or read a book, right? But when that happens, I will continue to write. I'll continue to make music as long as I physically can, right? Because it's a great outlet for me. It's a great way for me to express things that maybe it's not so easy for me to express with the spoken word. You know, it's just maybe a little bit easier and a little bit more effective for me to sit down and write it. So I will continue to do that from here on out.
Sweet, that's awesome. That's incredible. I love that. I love that mission. I love that. That's incredible. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, all good here. And going along with everything else, how would you describe your music? How would you describe your general music that you make?
Yeah, so that's part of the EP, right? In today's society, right? In today's society, we are programmed effectively to put things into boxes, right? This is a country guy. This is a rock and roll guy. This is a folk guy. You know, this is this. This is that. This is this. As a singer songwriter, I have the innate ability to jump genres, right? I don't always write in the same one, right? Uh, and and on Who Are You, Who Am I, there are four very distinct genres. The opening song on the EP is rock and roll. I mean, it's as rock and roll as it gets. Driving drums, you know, screaming, you know, Eric Claptonish type guitar work, you know, very, very rock and roll. And then it evolves from there into A Thousand Wild Horses, which is what I would consider to be an Americana song. And and then from there it goes into this world's foremost authority of country song, pure country, right? And then the final song is "Who Are You, Who Am I," which I don't know really. It would be classified probably as a folk song in today's radio world. It's always fun for me, you know, when the radio stations pick them up, and they're starting to now. Where they place the songs, right? It's always fun to find out what box they're going to stick them in. But as a singer-songwriter, you have that ability to really jump genres. So, for example, Find a Way, my Find a Way album won a bunch of awards for rock albums, right? It also had the #1 song on it that was a folk song. It has a couple of songs on there that I would consider to be, you know, Americana type, you know, storytelling songs. So that's a big advantage to not only being a singer-songwriter, but being independent. Because, you know, as soon as, you know, the songs hit #1, the first thing that the record labels want you to do is make more just like that, you know. And being independent somewhat, I do have a record label, but they give me a lot of freedom. And so I get to jump genres. So what genre am I? I like to call it just singer-songwriter, because it can be anything. It could be anything.
Yeah, totally, totally. And I sometimes don't like when they have to label, you as just this one. I love when artists get to diverse themselves and they get to jump from different genres. I love that. And when you do that, you get to surprise people. Like, you got to
Yeah.
surprise people. You get to surprise them. Like, when people listen to a few of your things and it's labeled as country, they're gonna think, oh, this next song's gonna be country, and then you come out there and your new song's like, rock and roll, and they're like, oh, I was wrong. Oh my god, I was wrong. Oh my god.
Well, you know, it's fun to get feedback from fans, right? So, the Crossing Willow Creek album had a little bit more of a rock tinge to it for a lot of the songs, and or country rock, right? Eagles type feel, you know, that style. It had quite a bit of that in there, and I got some feedback from some fans that really wanted me to do more pretty music, right? Slow it down, you know, just really do really pretty stuff. So that was actually one of the reasons for the "Who Are You, Who Am I" song, because it was just an answer to the fans. They wanted something really pretty, and I think it is. I really like it. So yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with them. I agree with them 100%. It is. And I love that concept, and I love that the move you have, that you keep diversity rich in your music. You keep diversity very rich in your music. And because of that, you surprise people and you grow more as an artist. You grow more. And that's a part of growing up, is to, try new things and to go out
Mm-hmm.
there and to, experiment and to, really go beyond what people think you are, and go beyond what people tell you you are,
Mm-hmm.
and go beyond what stops you and limits you. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're a country artist and you just stick with that, being country limits you, because there's lots of genres, and if you're just country, that country only goes as far as it can, and then after that, it just kind of limits you. And then what's gonna happen next?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing, you know. So I think each genre has its place, right? And I would certainly never, you know, say anything negative about country music or rock and roll or rap or, you know, whatever, hip hop, because I think that there's value in each one of those. As a matter of fact, I find myself reading quite a few rap lyrics. I think that now I'll be honest with you, I'm not the guy that's going to be busting out, rap over my stereo all day long, but I do enjoy reading some of the lyrics because there's some very interesting things and some interesting ideas, some interesting concepts that are being explored in there. And so I find that interesting, but it would be, to me, if you were just stuck in one genre, it would be boring. I mean, I just personally think it would be boring. So, I know people do it and they love it and it's their thing, but for me personally, I think it would be boring. Not to say that there's anything wrong with what folks are doing and they love it and they're having a great time with it. And I'm all for that. But personally, I think that I would get a little bit bored, playing, the same genre of music over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I want to let you know that what you think that actually is true. About the boring part, it's very true. And and don't take it from me, take it from everybody else that listens to the same thing over and over again. It's boring, it's not thinking, it's actually true. And a lot of people go for that. The most popular one they like to do is electronic music. They like to do EDM. And they like to do that, and it's nice. But when you start to play that music over and over again, you know that it's boring and you start to lose interest. You start to lose interest, and then you don't get anywhere as a musician if you don't get people tuned in and they're bored. You don't you can't grow like that.
But like I said, every place it has a place, right? The EDM music, a lot of that has a place. People like to listen to it. They like to dance to it. It's party music, in my opinion, right? A lot of it, anyway. And that's fun. And that's a great place for that. And so there's nothing wrong with it. There's a whole lot right with it. But for me personally, right, I like a little bit more variety in what I'm playing and what I'm listening to in particular.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Music definitely needs a lot of variety. I definitely agree. If an artist gets variety in a song, in an album, that shows they really accomplished a lot in the music career when they get that variety going.
Well, I don't know how much I've accomplished, but I'll guarantee you that more than meets the eye has variety. It's four variant, big, different styles of music, and it was ton. It was a ton of fun to do. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. It seems like that. I like it. I like it. Going along with everything because I'm liking this so far. So what is your general music process? How do you go about making your music?
Well, I mentioned earlier, I work off inspiration, right? So something happens. I have a conversation with somebody, or I go through a thing, or I get irritated at something that I saw on TV or whatever. Something that I read. I recently reread 1984 by George Orwell for probably the 40th time in my life, right? And so I start drawing analogies to what Orwell had written, and some of the things that are going on today. So it's an inspiration thing. And then once I get an idea, like I just scribble down thoughts, right? And it becomes a mess. Now I'll have to tell you, I'm a pretty organized person, and I really like structure. I really like everything in its place, and I just like that. I'm really comfortable in that environment. But when I'm writing, it is anything but that. There's little scraps of paper all over the place. A Post-it note here, a Post-it note there. I wrote the bridge to one of my songs in the shower. On the glass, on in the steam, so it's really kind of a mess. And then I ended up with all these ideas and all these thoughts, and then it's kind of like putting together a puzzle, And so you got all these little variant pieces, and you kind of like this line and you like that line, and this works with that and this works with that. And so it's a bit like putting together a puzzle. And then once I have the concept and some element of structure to the thing, then I'll start actually thinking about music. You know, what is going to be the best style of music to portray this song and to get the message of this song across to folks that are listening to it. So that's really kind of when I picked the genre, you know, maybe, you know, rock and roll or blues or jazz or whatever. But in my opinion, that's the best genre to get the message of the song across. And then, of course, then you go to work, right? Then you go to work and you figure out, you know, all the structure and all the theory and all the math, which is effectively what theory is, right? And you get all the pieces together, and then it's a bit like making a stew. You know, if you like stew, you know, you have all the parts and you throw them all in the crock pot, and you start cooking it, and then you kind of taste it, you know, and you go, up, needs a little bit more salt, needs a little bit of this, a little of that, some oregano, you know, and you just add pieces in there and let it simmer, let it cook until it's done. And that's kind of how I write. You know, I'll have a song that's rough, you know, and then I'll play it and I'll listen to it and I'll think about it a bit and I'll walk away from it for a week or two and then come back to it with a fresh look and a fresh mindset and change some things. And so it's, you know, it's kind of a mess, to be honest with you, but it works for me. So, you know, it's a process, you know, it's a process that I've done, you know, I don't even know how many times, a million times probably, but yeah, it's a process. So it's just, you know, taking a thought and then embellishing and then figuring it out and thinking through it and trying to find what the next thought is and how that works together. And, you know, it's a process for sure.
I love it. I totally respect how you go about that. I love it. I can see that people say it's a mess though, but it works for you, and I like it. I like how you go about it, and I love that a song idea, and you take that song idea and you go through the idea, and the product is a hit. The product is a complete song. I love that, and I love that you go about doing songs like that. That shows, you know, great musicianship.
Well, I don't know about the great musicianship. It's just, it takes me a bit, you know, I have to work on it a bit. I have to think about it, you know, I have to let it process. And, you know, like I said, just kind of throw all the parts in there and let it cook for a bit, you know, and then at the end of the day, you end up having a pretty good little product, I think.
Yeah, of course, and letting it sink in, letting it sink in. I think that's nature. I believe that's nature. That's what you're supposed to do in the process of making it. Is making sure that you sink it in and you kind of take in everything, you know, before you have that complete song. If you haven't taken it in, then what's gonna happen when it's out there and people are listening to it and you haven't taken it in? Like, what's gonna happen then?
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes songs will teach me things, right? And to try to finish a song before you've actually figured out what it's trying to teach you would be a real travesty, and you'd end up with a mess, right? So sometimes you got to let the muse, if you would, you got to let the muse talk to you and work with you, you know, through the thing and let you learn what the lesson for you in that song is. So then you'll be far more adept at sharing that message with other folks.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And a songwriter myself, I totally got that 100%. Totally. And
Cool.
from your experiences in music, what is your musical influences?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of different ones, right? From different places. So when I first learned to play and first fell in love with music, it was kind of during the folk scene, right? So I had my brother was 11 years older than me, and he was into the whole folk scene in the 60s, you know, and that was the music that he was listening to, and his friends would come over, and that's what they would play. And so that was kind of the original introduction to me. And then of what music was. That's how I kind of started learning how to play and that kind of thing. But then, as you grow older, I mean, when I was in the teenagers, I was kind of big into arena rock, that's what I call it, Styx and Kansas and Boston and, REO Speedwagon, those guys, and that was what I was listening to, though that was not what I was playing. Of course, I've always been a big fan of singer-songwriters, Kenny Loggins, Jimmy Messina, Dan Fogelberg. In today's world, John Mayer, I think, is great, but and many, many, many others, but the key to me, and one thing that I've noticed, and friends of mine, that when we're on a road trip or we're just sitting around listening to music, one thing that they always tell me is all of the music that you listen to, regardless of genre, is really, really lyrically based, and you listen to some of the lyrics that Kerry Livgren from Kansas wrote. Spectacular. I mean, just spectacular lyrics. And, describing his life journey and the quest that he had to find his, spiritual center. And you listen to some guys that were really, really known for writing love songs. Dan Fogelberg is one. His journey and how he expressed the emotions and the things that he was feeling. And sometimes it was anger, and sometimes he was sad, and sometimes he cried, and sometimes he laughed. And how they expressed that has always been fascinating to me. And so from an inspiration standpoint, that is my inspiration, is how artists really portray what they're trying to say. And of course, for that to happen, the artists have to have, as we talked about a little earlier, actually have to be trying to say something, So that's the folks that have influenced me the most, for sure.
I like that. I like that. I'll definitely have to check out some of those. Now, John Mayer, I do know. I have heard of him, but the other ones, they're going on my list. And trust me, I have a whole bunch of them. I wish I could show you, but I have that long list I gotta go through.
I think it's important, excuse me, to listen to different things. It's important to me. That's one of the things my son does for me, is every now and then he'll send me something. Dad, you should listen to this. It's probably not something I'm going to go search out and listen to, but he'll send me stuff. You should listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. So he keeps me somewhat fresh, somewhat in tune to the current music. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I like that. I like that he does that. That way you can get like a different taste. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can get like a different taste of music every once in a while. I like that. He needs to keep going. I like it. And you get diversity in your listening, and you could honestly
Mm-hmm.
say I listened to that.
Mm-hmm. That's important. I mean, and particularly when I'm on the road, right, and I'm traveling, I'll listen to a lot of different styles of music, and try to expand, my ears and expand my horizons, and hear what's going on in different parts of the industry. I think that's important. So it's fun. It's not always the best listening. Just saying, I don't always like what I'm listening to, but you know, it's a learning, right? You learn stuff.
Yeah, I totally get you. I totally get you. And I love having that list around because I get to get diversity in my listening, and I get to, I get different things to listen to. I get to, have something, different every day. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I love it's
Yeah.
exciting.
And of course, I have 16-year-old grandsons, right? Twin grandsons. And their taste in music might be a little bit different than mine, just saying. So, they're all the time, hey, Papa, listen to this. Hey, listen to this. Or show me how to play this. So that's a good thing, too.
Oh yeah, and learning from the youth is like it's healthy. Learning from the
Mm-hmm.
youth is very healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. They must be very cute then. I like it.
Well, there's value, and then there's the interesting thing. So I also have a 4-year-old granddaughter, right? And of course, she's 4 years old, so she's fascinated with Disney, and she fell in love with the movie Frozen, right? And so, of course, she had to have her papa learn how to play the theme from Frozen for her, so she could sing in the microphone when she's at my house. So, yeah, so I learned how to play the theme from Frozen on an acoustic guitar. That was an interesting couple hours. Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe she actually made you play Frozen. I can't
Oh,
believe
it's my
that.
granddaughter. What am I going to say? No, I'm not going to do that. She wants me to play it. I'll figure it out. I mean, can't be that
Oh.
hard, right?
Well, that must have been exciting. Was that fun? Like how was that exactly doing that?
Cute. It was just so cute, right? Because she comes over, and I have my practice area in my loft, right? And so there's microphones, and all my guitars and all my junk, and she likes to come over and sing in the microphones, put on the headphones, and hear herself sing and all that. And the day that she came over, and I was playing the Frozen song, and she was singing, and I was singing, and I mean, it was one of those seminal moments, right? It's one of those things you'll remember your whole life. It was just so cute to watch her little eyes light up, and oh, my papa played that song for me. That's cute. It just doesn't get any better than that.
Oh, that's just so adorable. Oh, I love that. I'm sorry, I'm getting teary-eyed, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's so adorable. I love those moments.
Well, that whole being a grandpa thing's it's got value, man. It's got value. So I embrace it. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And as time goes on, you're gonna get more value. You're gonna get lots and lots more value as time goes on, and as your family starts to expand, lots and lots of you get lots and lots of those,
Yeah,
which that'll be exciting.
of course, of course. Yeah.
Maybe you'll get like a whole band going to sing Frozen.
Yeah. Well, honestly, when I play shows in the Kansas City area, my grandsons are my roadies, right? They haul the equipment. They tune my guitars in between songs and that kind of thing. So they're already kind of somewhat engaged. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's exciting. And your whole life just seems so exciting and so memorable. I mean, just hearing about it is just so nice.
Well, like I said before, I didn't get this gray hair from a bottle, so there's a few stories back in the old gray matter, some things that I've done. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Oh,
Unfortunately, there's a lot of things I don't remember that I did, but other people do. So that gets a little awkward. I was raised at a time when you didn't have cell phones and you couldn't take pictures of everything, and there wasn't social media. So you have to rely on how much truth people have in their memories when they're telling stories about you. And it's always challenging.
yeah, but I wouldn't count as that embarrassing. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't count as embarrassing.
Oh, no, 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 no. If I did it, I did it. I own it, But what I did have a pretty good time in the '70s, and so maybe my memory is not quite as sharp as others. So they may remember a few things that I was involved in, or things that I had done that maybe I don't recall so clearly.
And that's fine. That's completely cool. I completely get that. But the main thing is that you had a great time in what you do in your craft. I mean, that's important that you do that.
Well, if it's not fun, you shouldn't be doing it, man. That's just kind of the way I think about it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Definitely 100% on you with that. And just everything. I do appreciate you taking your time out to do this. I really do appreciate you. I mean, I've learned a lot from you. I mean, it's been a while since I've had someone like you come on here. I really do appreciate you. I mean, I don't know if you had as much fun as you had other interviews, but I hope you had fun today. I really hope so.
No, we had a great time, and I'm going to give you a little bit of kudos here. I would much rather do the interviews that are conversational, like we had today, than somebody with a list of 20 questions, and I'm telling them the same things over the same questions. So you did a really, really nice job, and I had fun. I know I might be a little bit different for you and a little bit different for your audience, but my kids love me. My grandkids love me, so maybe I'm not such a bad old dude after all. You never know.
Yeah. And they're going to enjoy this, trust me. They're going to enjoy this. They always enjoy learning, from, older people. They tend to get, that knowledge up in there. So my audience could use a thing or two from you.
Oh, well, good, good. I'm glad I've added some value. So,
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And you've taught this guy a lot. You taught this one a lot. I'm afraid to me.
uh, yeah, well, I'm asked many times, what advice I would give, a younger artist or somebody that's just starting off, and the only thing that I could tell it, it's the same, whether you're a musician or whether you're just, somebody else. Be yourself. Find out who you are and be that person. Don't try to emulate somebody. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Be who you are, and learn who you are, and learn how to project who you are to everybody else. And I think that you'll find that you'll be successful. If you try to emulate other people, at some point, you're going to realize you're not the people that you're emulating, and that's not going to work out well for you. So find out who you are, be who you are, embrace who you are, and then share. Share with your audience, and share with your friends, and share with your fans. And I think that the honesty of doing that, and the vulnerability that you show doing that, is a true value, not only to yourself, because it'll teach you a ton of things, but your audience will also understand that. They'll feel that, they'll understand, and they'll know.
Yeah,
Though, some,
definitely, definitely.
yeah, though sometimes it sucks, if you're having a bad day and you got a show, you know, your audience is going to embrace the whole Bill's having a bad day thing. So, it is what it is.
Oh, and they'll see if it's a bad day. Like I'll show it in when I talk. Like,
Uh-huh.
whatever. Now
Yeah.
that is if I had a bad day.
Yeah. Well, my fans can tell, on occasion, on occasion, uh, I'll, particularly if I'm playing solo, which is my favorite thing, they can tell, just by the songs that I choose to play, what kind of a mood I'm in. And it's always fun. It's always fun for after the shows, for them to come up and say, "Man, you were really mellow today. You must have a new love in your life or something, or oh man, you were really pissed off today. You did all the pissed off songs tonight. What are you mad about? So it's always fun. It's always fun because people could tell, right? People could tell if they know you. So be yourself. You'll find that your fans appreciate it. You'll find that even your employees, your employers, and your employees appreciate the fact that you're not trying to, blow smoke, up their skirt. You're just telling them the way that it is and being who you are. And there's value to that. There's a lot of value to that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Um, all the knowledge that you're giving us today. I really think we definitely needed that, especially now. We definitely need that. And I hope you guys listen to Bill. I hope you guys do. I'm sorry. My God. I'm just getting a little touchy at the moment. I'm sorry. That's my bad.
It's okay, man. It's who you are, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, is there anything lastly you'd like to say to fans before we head off? Anything lastly?
No, not really. I think we've had a great conversation. You know, the only thing I would say is, if you took some points from our conversation today that I think are something that you know, put in your back pocket and use. Listen to the lyrics. Listen to the lyrics of the song. You know, lyrics matter. You know, it's a big deal. There's a reason that somebody sat down and wrote those words in that order, in that way, and try to figure them out. You know, it's always fun because most artists, myself included, are
Yeah,
not going to tell you exactly what that song's about because songs are personal, you know, and they can mean something completely different to you than they do to me, right? And I wouldn't screw that up by telling you what it means to me, right? So look at the lyrics, you know, try to figure out what the artist is saying. Why does he get really soft when he says that word? And why does he sound a little bit more angry when he says that word? Why is that? You know, it's fun. It's a fun thing to do, and it'll help you. It'll help you at least come to some level of understanding of what the artist is trying to portray. That's important. So that's what I'll leave you with.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I think they all are probably touched by what you said. I am. I'm still
And
trying to take in
well,
everything.
there's just a note to you. There are a couple of songs that I play that actually bring, when I play them, songs that I wrote, right? They still bring a little tear to my eye. And even when I play them after God only knows how many years, right? So when emotions are there, it's a good thing to embrace them and let them. And it's important. It's important.
Yeah, definitely. 100% with you. And thank you for everything. I appreciate you and so exciting. This is very meaningful to me. And make sure you guys check out Bill down below in the links. He's amazing. Make sure you guys do. If you guys are not listening, you guys are missing out. You guys are missing out on a great talent. You guys are missing out if you're not listening. You guys are missing out. My socials, everybody, everywhere is on Rapper Lab Podcast. Make sure you guys check out socials. Instagram is where I'm most active. I love Instagram. And thank you again for coming by today. I appreciate you. You've been awesome. I love this. I hope we do this again. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you. And again, I appreciate you. And I enjoy just having a good conversation, man. It's kind of fun. It's nice. It's a nice change for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love this. I love it. I love it. And you guys, don't forget to take in everything we talked about. And again, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night. Time zones, they confuse me. I don't know, they just confuse me. And yeah, I hope to see everybody soon. And I will see you guys on the flip. Bye, everybody. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight as we dove into a wonderful podcast episode. Now, in this following segment, you will get a chance to hear this artist's showcase because every artist that comes on the show requires to do a showcase. So, buckle up, get some popcorn, and enjoy the showcase. I hope you guys love it, and check out the artist when you get a chance to. Hope you guys love it. Enjoy.
Just when I thought the demons I fought were dead and gone, straight out of the blue, someone like you comes along. And I don't have to turn and look over my shoulder. I already know from the song. There's 1,000 wild horses thundering behind me, hell-bent on running me down. I thought I was fast, but the sins of my past were faster still. And I'm wasting my time trying to leave them behind, 'cause I never will. You see, one drink too many, one kiss too deep, and I feel a little shake in the pound. That's 1,000 wild horses thundering behind me, hell-bent on running me down. Each one is branded, each one is mine, each one's a darkness I can't deny. I know they're coming, there's no place to hide. I'm gonna get run down, or I'm gonna ride. Right now they're just a big cloud of dust, but pretty soon I'm gonna do something stupid like I tend to do, and I let them loose. So if you're thinking that maybe you're the one who could save me, baby, this ain't no merry-go-round. It's 1,000 wild horses thundering behind me, hell-bent on running me down. It's 1,000 wild horses thundering behind me, hell-bent on running me down. We cried so many tears, yet we cherished all the laughter. We lived through the joy, but then we fought through the anger as trust was divided and hearts became shattered. Emotions so bruised, so beaten and battered. Journeys so many times. We've seen our paths just vanish from our eyes. The moment we believe that we can find a passage through the shadows of our to mysteries that lay hidden